Hey everyone, Scott here to discuss Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, starring Judith Hoag, Elias Koteas, Raymond Serra, and Toshishiro Obata, forgive me if I said that wrong, and directed by Steve Barron. Now, I do have some childhood memories of this movie, but what do I think of it now? Let's get into it. In New York City, crime is stealing by a group of bad guys called the Foot gets worse, and their master named the Shredder comes and gets April O'Neil, played by Judith Hoag, mugged until some Ninja Turtles named Leonardo, Raphael, Michelangelo, and Donatello are in the dark and saves her life. And Raphael loses one of his knives, and they go back to the sewers, and only Raphael wants to take it back after April grabs it. And they tell their master Splinter they fought well, and the cinematography in these sequences are absolutely horrible. Just horrible. But it was the 1990s, as Raphael goes out for a movie and sees critters and thinks to himself, where do they come up with this stuff? And I could relate to that because I have seen critters before once in my life. The original. I haven't seen the sequels, but I have seen the original. Two criminals steals a woman's purse, and Raphael stops them, and they run off and meet Casey Jones, played by Elias Koteas, and Raphael briefly fights him and gets his butt handed to him by as Casey escapes. And so far, is this plot going? This plot's going nowhere. It's baffling to me for a kids' TV show. Gets a plot that goes nowhere. April goes to work the next day after the mugging to report the news, as the Turtles are in love with her, particularly Michelangelo, and the Foot Clan finds April and attacks her until Raphael saves her life and takes her back to their home, and they follow him to the sewers to find the Ninja Turtles are located. And she gets to know the Turtles and Splinter's origins, and Splinter tells the story of 15 years ago of how his master Yoshi was killed, and he finds the Turtles as babies and are all over toxic waste, and trains them to become kung fu masters. And as it turns out, April is not dreaming, and she invites them up to her apartment for pizza reasons. And believe me, they love pizza. I'll get to that. We get back to their home was robbed, and see Splinter was taken. And I do like the Turtles and Splinter as characters, but the humans are not connecting with me as characters. And the fact that Turtles' favorite food is pizza, which is also my favorite food, is beyond hilarious. The Shredder is the Ninja Turtles bad guy, who looks menacing but serves no purpose to this movie except for fighting the Ninja Turtles, I'll say. April's boss son Danny sees one of the Turtles earlier in the film as he's with the Shredder, and tells the Shredder about the whereabouts, while they have Splinter captured, and the Shredder's Foot Clan attacks the Ninja Turtles, starting with Raphael on the roof, while Casey spots him and decides to help the Turtles out, and April in the building gets on fire and burns the phone messenger while her boss calls him to fire April from her job as a news anchor/reporter. As they escape, and the action sequence is making me laugh. For example, Michelangelo showing off his nunchuck skills, which was cracking me up. It was making me crack up. And admittedly, meanwhile, Splinter knows a little more about Danny, and they talk which I could care less about that scene where Splinter and Danny get to know each other. April, Casey, and the Turtles hideout in an old abandoned house as they get to know each other, and particularly April and Casey, who act like they hate each other at first. And this is so predictable to the point I know they're going to get together at the end of the movie. as they figure out a way to get Splinter away from the Foot Clan. Meanwhile, Leonardo feels Splinter is alive and tells the others how to feel for him like Leonardo did and they hear him successfully and they complete the final training of the ninja. They go back to the city and sleep in the sewer to find Danny out of nowhere, and they all sleep in the sewer house for one night while Casey sleeps in the truck. And while they're asleep, Danny goes to the Foot Clan and Casey follows him there. And this movie is so full of bad ideas from the get-go, and Danny sees Splinter to as he tells the story of how he learned Kung Fu from his master Yoshi. I keep thinking of that Super Mario character, Yoshi, believe it or not, and sees him killed by the Shredder as his ear was cut off, which I didn't notice until after he told the story. Hey, he cut his ear off. And the Shredder comes to find the turtles, and Danny frees Splinter, and the Foot Clan go after the turtles and fight them. One last battle, and I like the second half of this movie bit more than the first half because that's when it becomes entertaining for me. That's when I'm thinking of Ninja Turtles in general. It's more entertaining. Casey talks some sense into the other Foot Clan members that it's a family, not a family, excuse me, and lets him with Danny and Splinter go with the Shredder, and the Shredder arrives at the Turtles battle and fights them one by one. And Splinter arrives and confronts the man that killed his master Yoshi and throws the Shredder off the building, and the cops arrive at the crime scene, as well as April's boss, who's also Danny's father, and April gets her job back and makes out with Casey, which I knew was coming, and as a climax, this was entertaining at best. Now it's time for the rating. I'll give this movie a 6.0 out of 10. The first half had problems, but when I got to the second half, it became entertaining. The cinematography was horrible, sure, and it went nowhere at first, but it got fun, and I'm giving it the rating I gave because it was more entertaining as the style goes as it is a kid's cartoon, and I admired the movements that Jim Henson created as well as it was a fun time at the movies, and I had a funny time. So I'd like to thank you guys for joining me, and next week I will be back with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2. And until next time, go Ninja, go Ninja, go Ninja, go!